Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel, I'm for Classic and welcome to BenchART. So for today what we do have needed is AO10 developed by the Big Ant Studios, and I believe they are using their in-house technology since I didn't really found out what engine they are using, so I'm going to assume that this is their in-house engine. So this developer, the Big Ant Studios, are responsible for other sports games. Like, I mean, we are here today testing tennis, but they have a cricket game, and they also have some ports from Android games like the Jetpack Joyride and Fruit Ninja to PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 3. So this is the graphical settings of the game. I'm using 1080p. Character detail doesn't only stand for character but also environment textures. It's just not only for characters. Alright, I'm not really sure who the hell wrote this, but this is not only characters. And for 2GB VRAM graphic cards, I do recommend you to stick with median. If you have a 4GB version of the HD 7850 or the X7 370, use the high. I did use the highest on my GTX 1650 Super, which is also a 4GB graphic card, but I have noticed some stuttering between cutscenes and gameplay. It wasn't really a big deal, but the RAM usage was simply huge, which implies that I was going a little bit overboard with the texture quality. So for 4 gigs of VRAM graphic card, use high. For 2GB graphic cards, use median. Alright, so the rest of the settings are completely maxed out. I just tuned in two settings, which is shadow contact hardening and shadow smoothing. Shadow contact hardening makes the shadows more realistic, so if you are far away from the ground, for example, your shadow will be softer. If you are close to the ground, your shadow will be harder. This is what shadow contact hardening does. And shadow smoothing, what it does, it feels like it causes the shadow to be much more softer than the usual. Both settings are very demanding on the GPU in this game, so that's why I disable them, because I mean, if you want to stick up with more than 60 frames per second all the time in this game, those two settings are essential. And also, despite I'm not going to use those settings, the shadows look pretty good, and you will see about that just in a minute. But first, let's take a look on the requirements. This game asks for an AMD Athlon X4555, so we have here a Ryzen, so I don't think this is an issue. 4 gigs of RAM, we have 16 in here, so no issue. And also they require an AG 6670, we have an AG 7850, so yeah, we are above the minimum requirements. So for the settings that I did test, with maximum quality with character detail to median, what I got was an average of 64 frames per second with a 1% low of 55. So what really happened in here is that if you play with maximum settings with character detail on median, cutscenes will be below 60 frames per second or replays. But even during gameplay, I mean, it was very close from dropping from 60. So by reducing the shadow quality, I mean disable shadow contact hardening and disable shadow smoothing, I was able to have a much better experience with a minimum of 67 frames per second and an average of 76, which means that the game never did drop from 60 frames per second. Whatever, if it was on cutscenes, replays, or whatever, it was always above 60 frames per second, no matter what. So that's why I decided to use this graphic quality. And as you can see, the shadows actually still look pretty good, so I don't see a reason to simply use those two shadow effects in this game. So what about the game? I mean, I'm not really a fan of sports games, and especially games like tennis, which I'm not really into it, but I've been reading a little bit about AO tennis too, and I've seen that many people are satisfied with the game regarding the visuals, the presentations, the sound effects. Everything seems very well done, which is kind of surprising, because the latest time I've played the tennis game, it was Top Spin, and that was more than a decade ago. And now I saw this game and I decided to try out and see how tennis games have gone. And presentation wise, like I said, everything it is perfect, and the characters, everything it is very well done, and even the users are saying the same thing, especially the fans, but unfortunately, gameplay-wise, this game has some issues with difficulty. It seems that a lot of people are complaining that in some leagues, the artificial intelligence, it is just dumb as hell, and as soon as you reach a new league or a pro league, they are pretty much unbeatable. They only hit the ball so perfectly, and this is pretty much, most of the people in here complains about unforced mistakes or something like that. So it's pretty much impossible, you know, to beat the artificial intelligence as far as they say, and that is one of the major issues with the game so far, as far as I can see. Then they say that it is unforced errors. It's pretty much that they are saying, because apart from that, it seems that most of the people are really satisfied with the game, and despite the game didn't score really well on Metacritic with a score of 68, they are still asking for a full price for this game. So they are asking for $49.99 on this game on Steam. I have checked Greenman Gaming and it is pretty much the same price, so no discount from Greenman Gaming in here, unfortunately. And yeah, it's pretty much a full price. It is pretty much the same price as a FIFA or a Pro Evolution Soccer. So I'm going to expect that the only people that will buy this game at full price will be the only fans of tennis games, or they actually enjoy tennis sports or anything like it, because it is very expensive price for a game that it is pretty much to fill up the niche players, for some niche players in here. So yeah, I don't understand the $49.99. I'm not saying that the game doesn't really deserve that, because FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer, they just pretty much change the characters and stuff like that, and this is a pretty much new game. But still, $49.99, it is really expensive for something that only a certain amount of people will appreciate this type of game. So unless they force the unforced errors, unless they fix the unforced errors, I don't really recommend this game. Possibly in a deep sale if you really enjoy tennis, but if you don't enjoy it, I'm not seeing why you would buy this game anyway. So guys, I think that's all that I want to talk about AO Tennis 2. Hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video. I will let the NPCs play against each other and try to reach a full set. That's it. Thank you a lot for watching, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.